Every real estate investor has a story about the deal that looked perfect on paper until the moment it absolutely wasn't. We're talking about the kind of property that smiled at you through the listing photos, passed inspection with flying colors, and then quietly began bleeding you dry before you even replaced the first water heater. The market doesn't always crash with a headline. Sometimes it whispers through a spreadsheet. And if you don't know what you're looking at, you'll miss it entirely. The warning signs were always there. You just weren't trained to see them yet. Think of a rental property like a human body. It can look totally healthy on the outside while something systemic is breaking down deep inside the numbers. The KPIs, the key performance indicators, are essentially the vital signs. And ignoring them is the investing equivalent of skipping every annual checkup and acting surprised when something goes catastrophically wrong. The first signal most investors overlook is vacancy rate trending upward over 2 or more consecutive quarters. If your unit sat empty for 2 weeks last year and now it's sitting for 6, the market is telling you something about your pricing, your product, or your neighborhood, and it's not whispering anymore, it's practically screaming. Right alongside vacancy creep is rent collection rate, which should hover near 100%, and the moment it dips below 95%, you have a tenant quality or economic stress problem brewing on your property. We're not talking about a one-time late payment from a good tenant. We're talking about a pattern, and patterns in real estate are prophecies. Then there's the maintenance to revenue ratio, which is one of the most brutally honest KPIs in the game. And when your repair costs start consuming more than 15 to 20% of gross rent, your property is no longer an investment, it's a part-time job with negative benefits. One bad roof, one ignored HVAC unit, one deferred foundation issue can turn a cash-flowing asset into a liability so fast it'll make your accountant cry. Historically, real estate moves in cycles roughly every 7 to 10 years. And within those cycles, distressed properties almost always send the same telegrams before they fully collapse rising delinquency. Deferred maintenance, and a rent roll that looks optimistic but performs pessimistically. We saw this pattern in 2008, we saw echoes of it in 2020, and we will absolutely see it again because human behavior and leverage are a timeless combination. There's a pervasive myth that a fully occupied property is a healthy property, but 100% occupancy at below market rents with tenants who pay inconsistently is arguably worse than a vacancy. You've essentially rented your asset to a problem you now legally have to manage, and eviction timelines in many states can stretch to 6 months or longer, which is a financial horror story dressed up as a tenancy agreement. The debt service coverage ratio, or DSCR, is where the rubber meets the road. And if your net operating income drops below 1.2 times your debt payment, lenders start getting nervous, and frankly, you should too. A DSCR below 1 literally means the property cannot pay its own mortgage, which is not a strategy that's a slow motion emergency. Here's what the community of experienced investors will tell you that no YouTube guru puts in the thumbnail. The exit matters as much as the entry. And a property with deteriorating KPIs is a property with a shrinking buyer pool. You don't just lose cash flow, you lose optionality. And in investing, optionality is everything. The practical lesson history keeps teaching us is simple: review your KPIs monthly, not annually, because a fire caught at a spark is dramatically cheaper than one caught at a blaze. Set hard thresholds. If vacancy exceeds 10% for 60 days, if collections drop below 93%, if maintenance ratio spikes 2 months in a row, those are your tripwires. And when they go off, you act, you don't rationalize. The discipline isn't in knowing when to buy anybody with a pulse, and a pre-approval letter can get excited about a deal. The discipline is in sizing your position so that even when a property underperforms, your entire portfolio doesn't flinch. Because no single asset should have the power to derail your long-term strategy. At the end of the day, real estate investing is not about being right, it's about being prepared. And preparation means building a system of indicators that remove emotion from the equation before emotion costs you everything. The investors who survive every cycle aren't smarter than everyone else. They're just more honest about what their numbers are actually saying. Whether you end up holding, selling, or refinancing out of a struggling property, the outcome matters far less than the process you used to get there. Because a disciplined process applied consistently compounds into something most people only dream about. Comfort with any outcome isn't recklessness. It's the byproduct of doing the work before the crisis, not during it. If you're ready to build that kind of foundation, whether that means your first investment property, connecting with a contractor you can actually trust, or finding a lender who understands your strategy, check out our links in the description below and let's get you started the right way.